This is the Bay and Tepe Perspective. I'm Brian Bay.
I'm Greg Tepe. Welcome to our podcast.
And this week's perspective has a little twist. Our first ever special guest, Brandon Walters.
Hey, I'm Brandon, longtime friend of Greg and Brian. I'm excited to be here today.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And to preface this, this is our first fan request.
Yes.
Our guy Adam Burns said he wanted to hear us do a Chase versus Sewell versus Pitts on if they're all available when the Bengals draft, if they're all three still there, who we should draft.
Right.
So this week we had a little twist. We pulled out of a hat. You want to go into that?
Yeah, so basically we wanted to make it fair where we would just go ahead and pull the names out of the hat because I think we pretty much are on the same page with who we would like to see drafted, and we can get into that later in the episode. But to make it a debate, we went ahead and pulled names out of the hat, and I basically got Pitts. Brandon, who'd you get?
I got Penne.
Okay. Brian?
Chase.
All right.
And we'd like to thank Brandon for picking out of the hat for us.
No problem. Totally random. Nobody got anybody that I don't think they want it specifically or anything like that. Just totally random pick.
Well, I want to shout out his son for helping out.
Yes, you'll see the video on our YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So, who wants to lead off? Any takers?
I think Brandon should start off because I keep hearing lately that we should go after Panay. We need offensive line help. So, with that being said, I think most people are kind of on that, especially if they're just Sports Center fans, and to see like, okay, that makes sense. Or seeing how much Burrow got knocked down last year. So I say we go with the quote-unquote obvious choice, and he's the guest, so let's just throw him in the fire.
All right, ladies first.
Let's do it.
He is baby mama, right?
Baby mama.
All right. Well, Penne, I think everybody can kind of agree on the fans wanting an offensive lineman to protect our future all-star quarterback, right?
Right.
So that's an obvious note there. But some of the good things about Penne is, he's only 20 years old. Doesn't turn 21 until October. So you're looking at a 12, 13-year career maybe if the guy can stay, healthy.
Yeah.
That is. Bengals do not have luck drafting a top offensive lineman and keeping him healthy. That's another argument.
Right.
Do you have any worries about him sitting out a year?
You read my mind.
I think that's a good question because I do think it hurts them in some ways. In some other ways, I think it makes them better. They get off time. They stay healthy. You're able to work out still, and you get all the good perks of just relaxing and kind of staying healthy and getting bigger, stronger, faster.
So in your research, have you seen that he's disciplined?
Yeah, in the videos I watched, which a lot of people say the Pac-12 doesn't have a lot of, per se, strong defensive linemen in that conference, per se.
Right, to challenge the offensive linemen.
Yeah. It's not as big a conference.
They're not the meat.
Yeah.
Big Ten's the meat, usually.
Yeah.
Right, but let's be honest, it's Oregon, Brian.
Quack, quack.
So is there
This is Eugene.
If y'all
a little
don't,
partial here?
yes, if you don't know, Brandon's an Oregon Ducks fan.
Yes, he is.
Yes, I am, yes.
That's why you can't see it. We're smirking right now. I was waiting for the Oregon part to come out. And 4 minutes in, not bad.
No.
Didn't take too long.
No.
But, a lot of people think this is just a big guy that can just stand up on the line. You watch this guy's draft day and his pro day, he's got lateral quickness. So not only does he come in and help block and protect for Joe Burrow, I also think he makes the run game a lot better here.
Right.
And,
Good point.
You're talking about having Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, getting the Joes out there, and I think he immediately makes both guys better.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hope you're right if we go that route. I would love to see what Joe does when he's not being rushed or on his back. And then if you can open the pass game, obviously you open up the run game, and that allows Mixon to get the true numbers that we're used to.
And this may be a fair weather fan or me living here in Cincinnati, but I believe Joe Mixon has the ability to be a top 5 running back in the league.
I agree, and probably for the same reasons, but take that aside, from what I've seen, he has the skill. You just need to be able to open up the pass game to allow him to do that. Otherwise, if you just keep trying to run it down the throat, it's easy to play defense against that if you don't have a pass threat.
Another big thing is getting rid of Gio this year.
Yes.
I feel like Joe Mixon's never been able to get in his rhythm per se because it's always Joe Mixon carrying it, then bringing Gio out. And then,
even though I didn't want to get rid of Gio, I will admit that.
But yeah, no, I feel what you're saying, because
saying.
it was kind of the same way when Gio played with who the heck was the other dude?
Jeremy Hill.
Yep,
Jeremy
fumbler.
Hill, yeah. Like neither one of them could get in a groove either. You know, like
And
to defend them both. Like I know we hate,
No, you're right.
We have we hate Jeremy Hill because of what he did and what he said when he left. But I mean, it was a groove thing.
And
right?
I think everybody here in Cincinnati loved Gio, but I think cutting him and kind of having subpar running backs that can – we don't have bad running backs behind Joe, but we don't have no one that's going to demand the time that Gio did.
Right.
I think it gives Joe Mixon a lot more of just that one back feature, and I think Panay helps with the run game and the pass game both at the same time.
No, I agree.
Good point.
Now, I guess my argument is this draft is heavy on offensive line, specifically at the tackle position. With such an early pick in the first round, could you justify drafting someone that hasn't played in over a year? I know Brian asked you about that before. I mean, and you make good points. I'm concerned that he's worked out, but he hasn't done football on the field, like true game time, motion or playing.
Right. And I think the Bengals set themselves up this year very nicely to be able to draft an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, or a tight end per se, maybe Pitts if he lands to us, right?
Right.
But we can't depend on those guys to be there either.
Right. You're right.
And I think I would probably say most of the Cincinnati fans have Chase as their second pick to come to Cincy. Just because everybody thinks Pitts might go earlier in the draft. Chase also set out last year, if you if you guys recall. So
Already tearing my pick down.
Yeah, he is. He's coming for you.
No, I'm just saying I don't think it hurts them two players to sit out just because they're so talented of players. If we're talking about second or third rounders sitting out, I do think it hurts a lot more. Them being generational maybe talents, I think sitting a year out can actually do good for them.
And then to help you out, I've heard stuff. He could be the next Anthony Munoz, who's arguably the greatest Bengal to ever play. The only, I believe he's the only Hall of Famer that played his whole career here.
And I think
only one that went in as a Bengal for sure.
Exactly.
A comparison I actually like more than that. He's not a Hall of Famer yet, and he did play most of his career with the Bengals. Andrew Whitworth.
Yes.
Oh, Whit. Yeah.
Bring him back. Retire here.
I would have liked to brought him back on a small contract
Same
this year,
here.
just for 1 year.
Play with Burrow. Come on.
My only debate to that is I heard earlier, and this was Michael Irvin saying, and this was the 90s, so it's a different era. But he's like, we had a great offensive line. You know how many of them were in the first round? Not a damn one.
None.
He's like, you know who was in the first round? My ass was in the first round. So you get me in the first round.
That sounds like a Michael.
That's a Michael Irvin thing, though.
Mr. Playmaker.
Yeah,
but he's not wrong. That's a good point.
So, I mean, I guess I could segue into mine.
Okay.
So for Chase, obviously the chemistry. That's going to be my first and biggest argument is the chemistry with Burrow.
Yeah.
They've had it. They killed it. Together, they set an SEC, creme de la creme, of the college football record in 2019 with he had 1,780 yards receiving.
Nice.
And that was a SEC record. So, I mean, I ain't mad at that.
And SEC is the best conference in the whole land, according to ESPN.
According to only ESPN. But no, real life, either way, they still produce good wide receivers.
And they already played with each other.
And they played with each other, so there's a good chemistry. Like you said, they did sit out a year. As long as he's still in shape, which I think his pro day proved that he is.
Very, very impressive pro day.
So,
yeah.
So that's why I think going with him wouldn't be mad. I mean, we get him with Boyd and Higgins. That's arguably the best wide receiving core in the league.
And all young.
I mean, I'd say maybe Atlanta has a better one, but they only have two. I don't know who their third is. I mean, they have a third. I can't.
Yeah,
know.
I'm
They have the
drawing a
big
blank.
two.
Yeah.
They have a huge two.
And I know,
Yes.
but
I know we're supposed to be kind of debating here, but just to help you out a little bit, I mean, the Bengals ran more 3 wide receiver sets than almost anybody in the league last year.
yeah,
Yeah, well, it worked because Higgins he blew up quicker than what the analysts said. So and I'm happy about it. I think
yeah.
on the pro level, Higgins and Burrow have something that could be special. Like maybe if they stay healthy and Burrow lives up to his name, like a Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison type thing. That's how impressed I was.
Remember when Harrison played with Reggie Wayne?
Yes,
This is
there
a
you
younger
go.
version of that.
Exactly.
This is them too, except Harrison's not about to retire like he was. Hence, Higgins isn't about to retire. We got him for a while.
Right.
And you get him with Chase and then Boyd, who is a little older, but not that much. And
No, not much. He's the vet, but not much.
to me, we would have 3 1s.
Same.
Who's your true number one? I mean, you'll have to name one, but they're all number one receivers.
Well, who you going to double cover as a defense?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Pick one. Other one's open. I
They're
don't
gonna
care.
burn you. 'Cause
Yeah.
Chase has got he's got some speed. You know,
Right.
he doesn't have what's his name, Bama speed. What that one guy?
Yeah, Smith.
Smith. He don't have Smith speed, but I think he's a better receiver.
Bigger body,
Bigger body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thicker.
bigger build.
We can
Yeah.
get to Smith later, but I'm
I'm
I
just
don't
saying
trust him.
because I know people's thinking that in
Yeah.
their head right now.
Let's not-
especially Adam Burns because he's a big Smith guy.
Let's
Oh, is
not,
he?
Yeah.
Let's not get Smith and turn him into John Ross, right?
True.
Yeah, good point. Very
Yeah,
good point.
but I mean, I guess my short argument with Chase though is that I mean it's mainly the chemistry. I mean, I think he's a stud. He's breaking records in the SEC. Yeah, the year off might affect him, but not much. And I mean, to pick him over Sewell, my argument, like you were saying, offensive line's deep. So if we go Chase, for example, over the other two, say all 3 are available, that's our argument here.
Yeah.
Is you get Chase and then you take an O lineman, you know, in the second, which you have 2 or 3 to choose from that are yes really good,
Yeah.
super good. Not maybe Sewell good, but super good.
Solid at least.
So, yeah. And then if you still worried about the line, draft another one in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Because they got, I mean, there's, you know, through the first 3-4 rounds, there's a lot of O linemen,
Right.
you know, and then you can do your defense or whatever strategy you want to do after that for all I care.
Right.
But you got that combination, like I said, the best 3 receivers, and they're young.
Could they argue that is a lot of wide receivers to draft as well? So we go that early?
Yeah,
They for sure could, but none of them are nearly as good as Chase.
No.
You
No.
know? None of them are good. No, none of them in the second. There's a big drop off between your first round wide receivers and your second round.
True.
And your first rounders, maybe one drops if you're lucky. But what you got? So you got Chase, you got Smith, you got other homeboy from Alabama.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Waddle.
about. Waddle.
There,
Waddle.
thank you.
Thank you. Waddle. Who else is one of the big first round names?
Guy from Ole Miss. I've
Ole
heard
Miss.
of
Yeah. So I mean,
Rondale Moore
yeah.
from Ole Miss. I think
Yeah.
he's a good.
Yeah,
good-
but I think there's depth, but I mean, I think Chase and probably even Smith are your creme de la creme at wide receiver.
you
Yeah.
think the
Waddle,
wide
maybe.
receiver gap is
Because I don't think any 3 of them, or even if you go with Ole Miss guy, I don't think any of them are making it to the second round
okay.
or making it to the. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To the Bengals pick in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
You know, really, maybe they'll make it to the second, but are going to make it to what, the 5th and the second,
Right.
the 5th overall second round pick.
I
would-
guess my argument
I don't want to
more
roll
so,
those dice.
just to be, I mean, I like Chase, but I don't want to cheat. So I feel like my argument is, okay, you're right, but for a Bengals need, we already said that Boyd and Higgins are really, excellent. I would love to add Chase to that.
Yeah.
But just for argument's sake, we struggled at that offensive line protecting Burrow. And as Brandon was saying, if we can get an offensive lineman to protect Burrow, to open up the run game or vice versa, can you justify yourself as a Bengals franchise to go after another wide receiver instead of trying to fix the line, which a lot of people say is our biggest problem?
The only reason I say yes is because how deep the line is.
Right.
The draft. If it was 2-3 linemen, and that's it. I mean, when I was reading, that's Bentley's tail. When I was reading, this was earlier, but there was like 10 linemen.
Yeah.
Like 7 or 8 that are tackles.
Well, and I will say, as Greg, as a person and not a podcaster, I agree with you. I think the line depth is deep, and even though Panay is like could be a once in a generation player, there's also not as much to me of a gap as there is a first round wide receiver to a later round wide receiver, where there is with a first round lineman to second, third round lineman.
Yeah. And then I guess while we're at it, you want to touch on Pitts then? Segue
Sure, yeah. So I got the freak of the league, of the draft, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts.
Tight end, Florida. Another SEC player. I was kind of looking at his stats. He's coming into the league playing 3 years in college. In his junior year, which was his last year at Florida, he had 12 touchdowns. So that right there, I really like a touchdown machine, especially at tight end, where the NFL is going more towards that type of tight end. Think of some of the best players in the league in general. Kelsey, Gronk had the big name, Kittle, San Francisco,
big red zone target.
Right, and from what I was reading, they said that his figures surpassed Gronk, Kelsey, and Tony Gonzalez, and he's comparable to Calvin Megatron Johnson. So like
we're talking about a tight end here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously he's a receiving tight end.
Oh yeah.
He's not known for his blocking, but if you can produce, like I said, he did 12 touchdowns last year. And another big thing to me that I noticed besides the touchdown productivity is he had no turnovers all 3 years in Florida.
Okay.
0 fumbles.
Fun fact, I did not know that.
That is impressive.
Research.
Research.
Yes. So that impressed me because if you can protect the ball and produce like that, I'm happy about that. And he had almost 1,000 yards receiving last year. His receptions went down from his sophomore year, but honestly, I don't know much about Florida in general, so I don't know why.
Trash.
I do know that part, but I also know they play in the greatest conference in the land. But other than that,
at least Oregon didn't get that.
Right.
Didn't throw out the trash bin on
He
it.
didn't throw the trash bin. All right, so
I got something to come up with. You want to talk stats?
yes.
Panay however you say his name.
Sewell.
Nine
Sound that. Oh, Sewell.
2019, 926 snaps without allowing one sack.
I do like that stat. Very good stat.
Not
I like
bad.
math is fun.
So I love the idea of drafting Kyle Pitts. I'll tell you that, and it's actually not my number one choice. But I was concerned about his blocking. Do you think his blocking could get better coming to the next level of the NFL?
The way I see it is if the Bengals go ahead and draft Pitts, we keep obviously Uzama or Sample, and I feel like they can handle the blocking. In my opinion.
I think in that case you take Sample. You keep Sample.
I
think
think
Uzama's the better receiving, so you get rid of your receiving tight end. You keep Sample, who can block the shit out of people.
Yeah, I'm thinking keeping Sample, and we also just picked up Moss off the waivers, so keep them too.
And you could do 2 tight end sets if you set Boyd out for a play, or have all of them in there.
So we could possibly be talking Thaddeus Moss and Jamar Chase back for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, back on the Chase train.
Depending on how Thaddeus Moss works out.
Right.
I'm not all sure about. I'm not too
That's true, because I
informed
forgot
on him.
we did get him, didn't we?
Yeah,
But they could be aiming for something like that, maybe.
They could be. That might be why they don't go Pitts.
could be. They're thinking could be they go with Thaddeus Moss. And
Because
they were
I was
high on
gonna,
Uzama.
I was going to bring that up, Greg. How do you feel about Pitts going to Cincinnati with them with that depth at tight end now?
Or I feel like if he comes to Cincinnati, he will, he'll be the number one on the depth chart. So I don't think it's a concern personally.
But somebody will go for sure. Would we keep 3 tight ends in any way?
No.
Well, we
Maybe.
could.
Well, we could be the Patriots, run 2 tight end sets, but I don't think Joe Burrow rolls that way.
How's Moss's blocking? So before we segue into talking about what the hell we want to talk about, I'm going to preface by I did not want Chase. I got him in the argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted Pitts.
Yep.
So who did you want, Greg? Like, who's your
Well,
actual?
Unfortunately, I was stuck between Pitts and Chase. I know it's cheating.
No, you can. It's whatever.
Okay, that's what I wanted was Pitts or Chase.
or Chase,
Yeah, I
and
wanted a receiver.
Then who do you want, Brandon?
Okay,
Out of
yeah.
everyone in the draft,
I know.
not even those 3.
I know.
Right.
I know. I argued Sewell just because of the random.
Yeah, because of the random picks.
To me, honestly, that's just the boring pick, and I do think the Bengals were able to reach out in the second round and get a nice lineman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm all about the playmaker, whether it be Chase or Pitts. I think the Bengals need to.
Is there anybody else though? Do you have an argument for Smith? Anybody?
No. I'm
Adam-
pretty stuck on Pitts or Chase. I think if Pitts is gone, definitely Chase. If both are available,
That's the hard part.
that's when it becomes hard.
Yeah. So I know Adam Burns, who again, he's the one that suggested this podcast, this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Smith is better than Chase. Overall, everything. He's going to be a better NFL wide receiver than Chase.
I don't see it.
I don't either. But I will say, Michael Irvin said that he thinks Smith is a better football player.
Okay. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Smith.
Well, he gave it the track star thing. He almost did the John Ross argument where he said he didn't say John Ross's name, but he said a lot of times they're trying to make track stars into football players, where Smith is a football player that's got track star speed.
Okay.
He's a football player first that can also run track.
I guess,
i.e. Tyreek Hill is who he compared him to.
I guess my
Yeah,
argument
that's a good
behind
one.
that would be, though, is that depending on where he gets drafted, he could be a better receiver. Okay, so like the Bengals, I feel like are better at utilizing big wide receivers.
Right.
Yeah.
One guy, for instance, that doesn't get a lot of playing time that we still do have on our roster that I think a lot of people are forgetting about is Auden Tate.
Yeah, and you're going to say him. Yep.
Not at all wrong with that.
Dude's got hands. I mean,
Yeah.
he can catch
And
some
the
balls.
height.
He doesn't get a lot of playing time. The Bengals are for drafting small wide receivers that have speed. It just hasn't worked out for them.
John Ross.
John Ross.
Yeah.
I think they utilized John Ross wrong. I don't think I'm not defending him because
No, but I think
he
you're
disappointed
right.
me. But I don't think they did a lot of because I kept saying why we're not using him more like Sammy Watkins or Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Like
I didn't see him just dump over the middle a lot.
Like if
He
Patrick,
was trying to streak. He was trying to kick Chris Henry. And
They're trying to do the long ball with Dalton's throwing, which he couldn't. He didn't
Yeah,
have
with
the long.
Dalton also. Yeah.
So there's the double. We used them wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not defending him fully either, but I think if we have given him a better shot, kind of what Brandon was saying, like depending on where the player goes, he could have turned into like you said, a Tyreek Hill or a Watkins with that speed. Go to the short routes over the middle, let his speed break away.
right? You think Patrick Mahomes ain't gonna be able to find him sometimes and
Right.
throw a dime to him? I just don't think that's the way the Bengals play.
Yeah, it's
True.
not.
I agree. So
Run it up the middle, beat you up a little bit, and try to throw one down the deep to their big targets.
but you're saying
Yeah.
Auden Tate helps my argument of why I want Pitts. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you get Pitts, you have Sample to block, and then you have, what's his other dude's name? Thaddeus
Thaddeus Moss.
Moss. How good of a blocker is he? Does anyone know anything
I
about
don't know.
I don't know
personally.
personally. No,
Okay, so I don't know much about him besides he did play with Burrow also.
the chemistry. That's
Yeah.
The chemistry, but man, Pitts is a machine. I think he
That's-
comes in the league being a top 5 tight end, if not higher.
And the league's going that direction.
And the league's going that direction.
Already have.
If we can copycat Kansas City,
Yes.
okay, yes,
Yes.
let's do that because they're doing pretty damn good.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now I know we won't copycat them because we have different players, exactly, but like if we have some sort of mixture of them and the Buccaneers and
Right.
maybe even some old school
Or
New
like the
England.
49ers
Yeah, like
or something.
I wouldn't mind having necessarily 3 tight ends on the team or I don't know
No.
how it worked, you know what I'm saying? Or even I don't know if we could keep Thaddeus on like a practice squad style thing or I just don't know all the details on who we would have to cut to keep 3 tight ends
Yeah.
per se. Because I don't know how depth, you know what I'm saying? But also like I don't know how his special teams. If he
Yeah.
Because you make a lot of players make teams by being good at special teams or being able to do special teams. So,
I think we picked him up because of the fact he played at Burrow. I think that's honestly like the
and that makes
front-
me worried that we won't take Pitts though.
I agree.
right. But I think ultimately they're like he played with Burrow. He has the chemistry. He's Randy Moss's son, so maybe we can get something out of that.
So
but
to kind of chime in and just ask Brian a question here. Your player seems locked in at Pitts, right?
I'm locked in for Pitts. Yeah.
Okay, so your player also seems like the only player that may be taken by the time the Bengals pick.
That is true.
Yes.
So who you going with, the protection or the playmaker? I kind of got
So
the
Chase
vibe.
versus Sewell.
I got the vibe
Yeah.
from you earlier that you're on the Michael Irvin train, but
I'm kind of on a Michael Irvin train. Yeah, I think Chase is my number 2. And then like we were saying before, we were semi-debating, is that the offensive line is deep. The wide receivers also deep.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's Chase, dude. And, like, Auden Tate makes that. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But Chase, dude, like, he's got the chemistry. He's a beast.
yes,
Because Auden Tate, I can't argue him being a number 1.
me neither.
He's clearly a number 3.
He's talented, but yeah,
He's talented, but
exactly.
he's a number 3.
I honestly think if we didn't draft another receiver, he would be on the outside with Higgins, and Boyd would be our slot. Would you?
I can
not
see
say
that.
Would you not?
I can definitely see that. Especially with Green gone now. So he has that spot where he can step up. So if the Bengals decide not to draft a receiver, okay, let's put Pitts back on the table. They draft Pitts. They bring in Tate as the other receiver. So we have 4 receivers on the field, but Pitts is that tight end.
So essentially, I think Tate would be 2, right?
Tate would be
Maybe not in terms of stats on the team. I think Boyd would lead in receptions and yards.
I think Boyd is the one.
But he would be your outside, right?
I would say so because you have Higgins in the slot.
Kind of take the 1, 2, 3 out of it, but if you say like you're outside and you're inside, because I guess traditionally the slot was always a 2 or a 3.
True, good point.
So that's what I think what Brandon was getting at there. So take the 1, 2, 3 out of it, like skill set wise. It's more who's going to play out and who's going to play in.
Because I honestly think if the Bengals do go Jamar Chase in the draft, I think Boyd still moves into the slot.
I can see Boyd in the slot.
I mean, he's been a great slot receiver already for us. I mean,
Right.
I think last year he had some of the best slot stats in the league.
He kind of reminds me of how Hoosh was when Hoosh played in the slot.
Yeah.
He makes his tough grabs, and he runs the good routes in the slot.
He catches everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying he won't be our 1 AKA, but I think the 1, 2, 3 thing is going away, just like the,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think all that's just,
It's old school football.
yeah, you don't need a 1, 2, or 3. They're all going to play. They're all going to get a lot of playing time.
It's more who's slot, who's outside, who's other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Who's slot, who's weak side, who's strong side.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
That's a good point.
my second question. As we know, the NFL is full of divas, right?
Are they?
Yeah. So is there enough balls to go around? And do you guys see like the Bengals locker room now with Zach Taylor being in there? Like, hey, we're maturer than that, or do you see? Are we going to have some crybabies here?
This is what I think. I think one, this podcast has at least one diva on it, and two,
I think that's me.
but for real, to answer your question, I think a lot of these guys are so young that we're not going to get that. Like I don't see that with what we got, especially in theoretically what we could have, and then with a young quarterback when he comes back, I think, and I could be wrong. I feel like a lot of people, especially young players, and maybe I've seen it with some vets, are excited to play with a talent level of Burrow, where they could see where this team's potential could go.
So to credit AJ Green, I think he's not with us, but his leadership is still with us.
Yes.
And his leadership is we're not divas in this wide receiver locker room.
Yes.
You
And
can
you're going to
leave-
act right. And I think that's definitely rubbed off on Boyd, whether he was like that or not. Because Boyd's now that new leader of the receiving corps, whether he's a 1, 2, or 3.
Yep.
He's the leader, and he's also not a diva. And I think it takes a veteran to become a diva. T.O. was not a diva until he became a diva.
I think it was not until like Jerry Rice left, and
Yeah.
then
Because it's a locker room to keep people in check, generally speaking. From
Yes,
what I
it
understand.
is.
I've never been in an NFL locker room, but from what I've heard, the locker room, and I think AJ Green's leadership's still there, which has passed kind of the torch to Boyd. And I don't
Right.
think he's a diva, and I don't think Higgins came in as a diva, so I don't see him growing into that under that strong locker room,
Yeah.
at least in the receivers' locker room. And I don't know much about Chase himself, but he doesn't seem like a diva. But with him and Burrow having chemistry, I think Burrow can keep him in check.
yes,
Now, the devil's advocate to that is that I guess jealousy could form in the fact that if Chase becomes the number one and everybody, the media saying, well, that's his boy, that's why they're going to Chase before Higgins. Or if Burrow goes to Chase in the fourth quarter with our game on the line and he drops one.
yeah, like that was supposed to be your boy.
Should have went to Higgins.
Yep.
Why didn't we go to Higgins? Higgins don't drop that shit.
Yeah.
Why didn't we go to Higgins? Why didn't we go to Boyd? Boyd's captain clutch.
I think
Boyd knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs.
I think Boyd likes watching the
But-
Bengals score touchdowns. I think he gets more excited seeing another person score touchdowns than
As
he
much as
actually
him,
does
yeah.
for himself. So
And as long as the locker
Yeah.
room stays strong and you're winning games, you'll be fine.
That's the big thing. If you're winning games, it's easy.
If you're losing games, it don't matter how mature your people are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, AJ Green was mature to the media. I don't know what the hell he was saying in the locker room.
that's true.
And no one ever said he was a cancer to the locker room, and I sure don't think he was at
Right.
all. But, I mean, you can read it on him. As a fan, I was like, oh, he don't want to be here anymore. He's not
Which-
going to say it. But
As a competitor, can you blame him? Like not to change the
No.
green, but it's like if you keep losing, it's like I think it proves more to what you're saying, Brian. Is that the last few seasons here was annoying as a team member where the team was struggling, and in his personal career he was dealing with injuries the last few years, and the fact that he didn't become a diva with all that's going on, at least from what we saw, I think praises him.
and that brings around, that ends my point of, I think the maturity in the locker room. So to answer your question, no, I don't think divas will be a problem.
let's just be
I don't either.
honest. AJ Green left, and he's going to be better than DeAndre Hopkins just because he doesn't play for Cincinnati anymore.
Oh, he's gonna blow up, and he's gonna be like,
We're talking shit about our receiving core. Arizona's going to be just tearing it up, dude.
Exactly.
Fitzgerald all of a sudden going to have another 1,000-yard receiving.
he's gonna find the fountain of youth. I mean, he's gonna have help with Hopkins and Green taking attention away.
Yeah, Hopkins, Green Fitz out there. I ain't mad at that. But no, I think
No, on a side note, though, I do want to mention, I know I probably talked to both of you guys about this just outside of the podcast, but the Bengals this year are playing, a tremendous amount of quarterbacks in the league that are top-tier quarterbacks.
Right.
Or supposedly going to be.
Yeah.
We got to play Lamar twice, Baker Mayfield twice, Ben Roethlisberger twice, Aaron Rodgers, I believe, Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and whoever the 49ers get possibly.
You forgot Jared Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff. Oh,
He's
yeah.
in the Lions now.
Good one.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think our offense is going to need a pick-me-up this year just to stay in games with these quarterbacks.
Kind of like the 05 Bengals, where we were – we had a good defense as well with that team, but we were scoring a lot of points. I still remember the game we lost, but it was against the Colts, and Peyton Manning was on fire. And we played in Indy and lost 53-48 or something ridiculous. It was, that season, we kind of go to your point. We relied a lot on our scoring. Our defense did enough, and that defense was good though. But if we can just score points, that's hurt us a lot the last few seasons as well. Where our defense hasn't been playing very well. Teams are scoring on us, but we're also not scoring. So it's like we're just shooting ourselves in the foot by playing pass-heavy offense to catch up, where if we can keep scoring points, we can balance more our offense with the pass and run.
Because one thing I've heard nobody talk about is the Bengals even thinking about drafting a defensive player in the first round this year. So
yeah, I haven't either.
I think they have maybe thoughts that they have fixed our defensive enough to...
Well, and that brings up a good point. Since we're talking about the draft, do you think... I know we made our arguments, and I know we're all set on the guys that we talked about, but as an organization, should the Bengals consider going? Is there any defender? I guess I'm saying it's kind of hard for a fifth pick, but
it is.
I think in the second round. So I think my thing is you go Sewell. If Bengals go Sewell, even whether all three there, whatever, if they go Sewell,
yeah,
I think second round, then they go defense. I think we want them to go position player, but I think at that point, unless someone drops your talent, your receivers / there's only really one tight end I know of is Pitts. There might be. I think there's another one out there that is also a good tight end coming up.
Nobody looks for tight ends.
No.
Not like
so either
that.
way, I'm saying, so if you're thinking another tool, another weapon would be receiver. We all agree we're good at running back.
A lot of people actually
You know what
say
I'm saying?
that
So-
5 is too early for a tight end.
Yeah. Well, I get that. I get that.
but
yeah. For
But say-
strictly
but-
position-wise, I
Yeah,
get
but
it.
say we're taking Sewell, then I think we go defense in the second.
Yeah, it's the chess game.
I think the only player defensive value-wise in the draft that I would even consider, and I think I would only consider if the Bengals moved back in the draft and got an extra pick in the first,
Yeah,
would be Micah Parsons. Just because out of all the things the Bengals have fixed on the team this offseason, I have a hard time naming our 3 linebackers or what, on
That's
the
a good
depth
point.
chart. I do know we got Logan Wilson and we got production out of him last year.
Right.
He's a great cover linebacker and he's a hard player. I like him a lot. But outside of him, do we really have anybody at linebacker?
I'm trying to think now. Actually,
Because our line is because we got Reader on the line.
Jermaine
Yeah.
Pratt, but he's nobody.
We have not especially compared to linebackers past
yes.
that we were used to having.
I would have really liked to seen the Bengals get a linebacker maybe in free agency. I think that is one spot they missed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Get a linebacker in free agency.
And I think this is going to be a down year for our defense. I mean, you can't fix everything in 1 year
No.
or 2 years if you count last year. So I'm just excited. And that's more my argument, which is go for offense because it's offensive draft. Go for it.
Brian's like, let's get Pitts and score 50 a game.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I
fuck
agree.
yes.
And Brian, and you both brought a good point.
Let's get
We can't
Pitts.
fix it all this year.
The only negative I can say at Pitts that I've heard is that I forget who it was that said it. They said they don't know if they said the one way to stop him maybe is put DBs on him.
Okay,
Treat him as a receiver, don't treat him as a tight end, and cover him with linebackers that he can burn.
right.
Put a DB on him that then his speed because he's fast also, he's a machine.
Yeah, he
So, like, his speed
ran
then
a
can be-
4.44.
Right,
That's what I'm saying. So his speed will be not voided, but it'll be slowed down by having a natural DB on him.
Yeah, that makes
You know.
sense instead of a linebacker, especially.
And then just see what he can do.
Well,
But then
that-
he's got a size.
That's what makes it hard for defenses, right? You got to put an extra DB out there, and then if you do that, do you take one of your linebackers off, or do you take this guy off, or
No,
what?
no.
It's a chess game.
But if he's lined up against a linebacker or a safety, all I've been seeing is him just burning people.
Oh yeah, that's all I've seen.
I just personally feel like I think he's gone. I think Atlanta takes him though.
Yeah, that's what
So I
I
think
was going to say that to end up my part, and we just got on something else. But like, I can see Atlanta taking him and putting him with Julio Jones. So then you're like, do I kind of what you're saying? Do I take a DB? And what you brought up, do I put a DB on him?
But they also, they have a good number two too.
Yes,
Calvin.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And I mentioned this to Brian earlier. I think all that depends on how long Atlanta thinks Matt Ryan is going to last. Do they think he's going to last 3 more years?
or are they
That's
going?
true.
Are they going all
Or
in this year?
or do they think this is
yeah.
do they think this is his last year, right? And they go Trey Lance or maybe Justin Fields.
'Cause I don't know much about Atlanta's line. If they need a Sewell or
I don't
they,
either.
Because I think if Atlanta thinks Matt Ryan's going to last 3 years, right? I'm not sure his age off the top of my head. He's got to be in his
He's up there now.
30
though.
something. I mean,
oh shit.
Yeah, he's up there now.
but he if he can last 3 more years, I think they go Kyle Pitts, right? But if they think his time is coming to an end, I think they go quarterback. And
Matt Ryan's 35.
And I think that leads.
So yeah, he's doesn't have much longer.
So I really think that all 3 options could be available for the Bengals if the Falcons think Matt Ryan's time's coming to an end.
So if they decide to go with his replacement, basically,
Right.
it could leave the Bengals with a good, tough decision.
Yeah. I do think the Bengals set themselves up nice this year with the draft. I don't think on draft night, no matter who they choose, I'm going to be...
Yeah, I think we're going to be happy regardless.
Yes.
Even if, I feel like the consensus is we want a skill player amongst us 3, whether it's Chase or Pitts. But I think if we did get Sewell, we won't be mad.
I think night 1 of the draft, you're leaving with protecting Joe Burrow better or having a big playmaker out there.
Exactly.
So 3 hours ago, CBS.com put out an NFL mock draft again.
Yeah.
And they have Fields going to Atlanta
Okay.
to replace him, and then they have us taking Pitts.
Oh, okay.
Then
Well,
they-
it's because they have Atlanta going quarterback. That makes sense.
Yeah, they have. So I'll rattle it off. 1, Lawrence. 2, Wilson to the Jets. They have Trey Lance going to San Fran.
Okay.
And then they have Fields going to Atlanta. Pitts going to us. Then Jamar Chase going the next pick to Dolphins.
The Philadelphia Dolphins.
And then
I
they have
love them.
Mac Jones dropping to the Patriots.
So we could...
Oh, okay.
We could see Kyle Pitts go at 4, right? And then you reunite Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. And then you could see the Dolphins reunite Devontae Smith with Tua right after that.
And they could.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe people are
You're
just
right.
trying to reunite their players here.
It's the new trend now in the NFL.
I just don't see Pitts dropping past everyone if he's not. If it goes Atlanta Fields,
Yeah.
and then say we go
No,
Chase, I think then the Dolphins would have to take Pitts.
I
I would
too.
think.
Yeah, I do too. That's a great safety blanket for
Which I
a
think-
young
And then
quarterback.
this they have Sewell going all the way down to pick 8 at Carolina.
Okay.
Carolina, okay.
I thought I seen in the earlier mock drafts Pitts going to Miami Dolphins as well, so that would make sense.
And then they have Devontae Smith dropping to pick 11 with the Giants.
The Giants don't need a wide receiver, so if they did that, that would be done.
Hey, I don't care because it's the NFC. We're AFC.
Yeah,
That's how I look at it.
that's true. Waste your pick.
Well, since we're talking about the other players too that are available, what do you guys think of number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence? Any opinions on that?
He's going to play with Urban Meyer. I think they're going to. I think there's a chance they might struggle. I know Brian might not agree here, being a huge Ohio State fan, but
Wait, he likes Ohio State?
huh?
Just a little bit.
But first year coach, first year quarterback combo. I'm not saying that they won't succeed. I think their first year will be a struggle to get everything together because let's just be honest, Jacksonville hasn't been great.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger
There'll
issue.
be an adjustment period for sure.
Right. Is it bad that I'm not on the Trevor Lawrence? Like I'm rooting against him just because I've heard, I don't know, some certain players, certain years, I just get annoyed when I keep hearing about them. So this year, like, nothing really against him. It's just more all the hype. I'm like, I hope
I almost feel bad for Urban, and I only say that because he has to take Lawrence.
Yeah, he can't make
If
it.
you is a first year coach in the NFL and people doubt you anyway,
Right.
you take anyone but Lawrence, you're a fool to everyone.
Oh, they're gonna be like,
And
"What's
I'm
he
not saying
doing?"
it's not the right thing to do, but he already has chemistry with Fields.
Yes.
If anyone knows what Fields could do, and I'm not saying take Fields one, don't get me wrong, I'm not being that biased, but I'm just saying like that's who he coached.
And you're taking the decision away from Urban being the first year coach. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Like he doesn't even have a choice. Like
Well,
everyone's like, you're picking Trevor Lawrence.
Well,
You have to pick Lawrence. So
Think
what-
about trading
Yeah.
the number 1 pick. What all you could actually get from that?
a King's ransom.
Yeah.
I mean,
A
seriously.
King's ransom, and you could still get a Fields.
Yeah.
And he could. I thought last year in the middle of the season, I thought Urban Meyer might be a candidate for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh,
and,
he called it.
And you know, I remember asking Brian, "Hey, Justin Fields and Urban getting
Yeah.
together," you know, but it didn't work out, you know, record wise because Jacksonville ended up with the pick.
Yeah,
And-
New York still messed up and won too many games and got the number 2 pick. New York can't do anything right. I mean, the Jets, that is.
right.
I'm amazed, and maybe I am being biased. Well, how the hell did Fields drop so much? What did he do wrong?
I don't know. They keep hopping on these other quarterbacks
And
all of a
I
sudden.
might be right there with you on that Michael Irvin interview. Was he talking about guys getting in shorts and going out and getting these pro days and being a little faster and throwing a little further because they're all in shorts? So like he was basically saying that I want to see the work on the field with the pads on,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
jersey on. I don't want. I don't.
He
wanna-
watches film. He don't watch that pro day stuff.
Right, and a lot of people are. I guess what he's insinuating basically is Mac Jones went out there with shorts on and
and no one playing defense on them.
did great, but you know
I'm with him on the field stuff. Like
Me
watch
too.
film. I've never been a fan of the combine.
I'm
or
an old
pro
school
days.
guy.
Like, what are they doing on the field? Yeah, like what decision? How quick can they make a decision?
because
I mean, we can throw football. Like if we go to a field, we're not as good as them, even doing it that way. But like
No.
my point is, anyone can go onto a field where there's no game time pressure. You're not getting rushed around. You're not wearing the equipment even
No.
that Brandon mentioned.
And
I mean-
and Jacksonville needs an O line too. Lawrence is going to be on his ass.
Yeah,
Like, he ain't going to do nothing. He's a statue quarterback. He can move a little bit.
Remember the
Yeah, he's got a
Clemson
little
Ohio
bit of
State
runs,
game?
But yeah,
he was on his ass
you
a
get
lot.
some rushing on that.
you only
Dude,
can run so
Fields
much.
lived running for his life because I'll admit Ohio State's offensive line was their weakness.
Yes.
He was freaking the fuck out and still doing well.
Yes.
You know, like
I don't know about
the
you
only thing I can
guys.
say is injury, but I don't know. I like Fields.
I don't know about you
I like
guys.
Fields long term better than Lawrence, and I don't care if it's my bias.
And Brian knows. Brian knows I'm not
There's
a
the
big
diva.
Ohio State fan. I'm not the biggest Ohio State fan, but to me, in my mind, I see Trevor Lawrence being the top quarterback in the draft just because solely based off everybody thinking he is. But
Yeah.
I also see Justin Fields going to the 49ers and being better than Trevor Lawrence his first year.
Yeah, I can see that. And the 49ers are a good
Especially
team.
with Kyle Shanahan,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
a great coach.
They struggled last year because they had a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that red and gold will look good on him, man. Nice transition from
Hey,
the
there you go, from
Scarlet.
Scarlet.
and gray.
And they do have a receiving core over there. I mean, they got Kittle, they got Sam Debo,
Yeah.
they got Ayuk, the rookie from last year.
Good defense.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, a lot of their big players
that's
were
my-
injured last year.
And see, that's my biggest thing. It's not even an argument so much with Lawrence. Is who the hell is Zach Wilson?
Yes.
Who in the hell is Trey Lance?
I never heard of him.
Division freaking 3 or whatever the hell they call it now. North flipping Dakota State.
I never heard of those guys until we start talking about draft
Shit
stuff.
outta here
I'm
with
like,
that, dude.
oh, I thought Fields was a
Zach
clear
Wilson
second.
couldn't even beat the freaking the mullets.
The thing is, you
The
say
mullets and Mormons. He
Yeah,
couldn't beat
I
the
remember
damn
that.
mullets, dude.
you say
What was
that,
that, Coastal Carolina?
Something like I remember you tweeting about it
You're
actually.
not. You can't beat Coastal Carolina, and you're the number 2 fucking picking. The Jets are trash.
you say
Oh yeah, Mike Greenberg. That's why he freaks out all the time.
I
know-
hope he doesn't go to the Jets.
Brian, I
Trey
think
Lance the hell out of there.
I think the 49ers would be better off drafting Trey Lance than they would be who everybody's suggesting they're going to pick there with Mac Jones.
Oh, Trey. Yeah. Mac
He's
Jones,
just a better
yeah.
fit for Kyle Shanahan, I believe, but we'll see, I guess. It sounds like they're pretty stuck on Mac Jones.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I never heard of it until.
Take
stuff are
take
happening.
them. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's your guys' problem. It's just weird to me. Like Brian saying, like, where did you guys come from?
We do play the 49ers. They were added
Yeah, that was
on
the added on game.
the 17th game, yeah.
Yeah, that was the added game that we added with the
And
NFL.
how's that going to work quickly to spin off to the
I don't
17
know.
games? Like, That's going to first gum up our whole fantasy league.
Yeah, like fantasy-wise,
for that,
coming
NFL.
up.
I did not think about that.
Thanks for that, NFL.
Well, can I have a dork moment
Yeah.
for you guys? So the NFL has like a perfect formula for their schedule. So like, let's use the Bengals as an example. So we play our division teams twice every year. Then you play another AFC division, and that rotates every 3 years. And then the AFC division that we don't play, we play the two teams from each other division that finished the same place we did last year. So like this year we'll play the last place from each division.
Jacksonville, right? And
I don't remember right now, but basically that's what it is. And then you play one opposite conference division. So like this year we play the NFC North, and they rotate that every 4 years. Well, adding the 17th game, and we the 49ers being the 17th game, they're not the NFC North last I checked. They're not the AFC North last I checked. They're not in the AFC South or any other AFC conferences or divisions that we would play. So as far as the NFL standpoint, what's one you can almost predict most of our opponents each year. How do we determine the 17th opponent? That's what I'm getting at. I don't understand what their
theory was behind it.
Do either of you know how we got the 49ers this year?
No, I don't know, but I knew it wasn't going to be an easy game because the Bengals just their schedule, I feel like, is loaded every year.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, we play in one of the tougher divisions, in my opinion.
So that helps already with the hardness of the schedule. But I knew it wasn't going to be, no last place team, that's for sure.
No. But I don't know.
Yeah, but fantasy also, I didn't think about that until you brought it up.
Yeah. We got to revitalize our schedules because had, how we do our leagues, we have it set up where you play your division twice and everybody else once. Works out swimmingly. And we don't use week 17 at all.
No.
Our playoffs are 15, 16. So the only adjustment then is 16 in your championship game being week 17.
Yeah.
Or game 7. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's how you'd have to adjust it. Just push everything back a week.
Yeah, I guess so, because then there would be 18 weeks instead of a bye week.
Yeah, so I guess that's how that would work.
I didn't think about that.
There's still a bye week. So
by the way, I got to throw this in just because after fantasy season's over and we do this again, I'm calling the chip right now.
Oh, for fantasy?
Yeah,
so you're going to be our guest for the fantasy chip?
Yeah, no, I'm going to win the chip, and then I'm going to come back on the show.
Oh, I thought you were going to hand the trophy to the winner.
No, I'm going to win that chip, and I'm going to come back on this show.
No, you're going to have to be here to present it to me.
Oh, I never even got the trophy, but I was going to put that out there. We got the trophy. I never lived at my house, and we already have another champion.
I haven't even ordered your nameplate yet.
I did win.
I've only ordered Adam Burns' nameplate from year one. I've not put it on. As you can see, it's sitting right there.
Yeah.
We'll be live then.
It used to be my trophy. I never owned it, but
we'll have live video then. You guys can see Brian hand me the trophy.
Does he have to do anything else? Like shave off the beard when he hands it to you?
I'm not shaving off my fucking beard.
No, just go down on one knee. That's all.
Whoa!
I'm going to shave my beard as quickly as you can grow hair.
There you go. Hey, at least he said you can get on one knee.
One knee? I'll propose to him?
Yeah.
The trophy.
The trophy.
Propose the trophy.
All right. That's all I got, though. Anybody else have any recaps to top it off?
I just know now I'm excited, even more excited about the draft, and even more excited about the NFL season with the games and fantasy. Brandon's probably going to go realistically like 2-15 or something, but he likes to talk. It's all right.
I'm glad you guys waited so long to do this episode now, though, because I'm hyped about the draft, and it is this week.
Right.
So.
And thanks for coming on.
No.
Being our first guest.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're going to be a trivia question one day when we're all famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We surpassed Joe Rogan's numbers. Who was the very first guest?
10 years from now.
On the Bengals perspective.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, for real, thanks for coming on.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Anytime. I'm sure I'll be back. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we'll have a meeting about it. We'll let you know.
All right, are we done?
Are we done? I think we're done. Brandon, are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, boys. And